Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Now I welcome you to today's thought-provoking discussion, but before getting to the video I just want to give a huge shout out to a brother who goes by the name @Jerusalem on TikTok. Now his insightful videos have been a game changer and I highly recommend following him for more eye-opening content. Of late I have been posting some of his interesting videos, so go ahead and follow him on TikTok. Now with that said, let's get into the meat of our conversation. In this video, we are going to explore the fascinating connection between Black Americans and the biblical Israelites, revealing startling truths about our collective history and destiny. Now, our brother sheds light on the significance of the 400-year captivity of Black Americans, the kingdom of darkness's desperate attempts to maintain control, and the Most High's awakening as we enter the end times. Now, as we navigate these uncertain times, he highlights a disturbing trend where communication breakdowns have increased division and the rise of demonic influence and satanic agendas. Now, he notes that people's choices and allegiances are revealing their true gods and the spiritual battle lines are being drawn. So join me as we take a look into the Bible's eerie predictions and explore the unfiltered truth about our world's spiritual state. Take a look at this video. I will be right back.
Black Americans are the real Jews from the same tribe as Jesus Christ. One thing that's not talked about, also pertaining from the period of 2019 and 2020 when Black Americans' 400-year captivity ended and the kingdom of darkness and YTPPL knew that was the beginning, the Most High waking up, Israel, Black Americans really waking us up around that time. They knew that was the beginning of their end. But one thing that's not talked about also is how communicating with people has not been the same since that time frame. Interacting with people has not been the same since that time period. It's almost as if like all of the demons and the Satanists, it's almost as if like they were lying dormant. Now they were always there, but they were lying dormant, and now it's like all out there in your face, unfiltered, just bam, 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 bam. Now I understand the Bible explains all of this, all right? There shall be lovers of self, blasphemous, unholy. So I fully recognize that how people are, they are simply fulfilling end time prophecy. They are really essentially fulfilling the Most High's will being this way because the story was written from the beginning, right? So that's all they're doing. So in that regards, they can't even help that. I am simply making an observation that communicating with people, it's like it's never been this tough, and recognizing that the line in the sand has been drawn, right? People during this time, they already chose, just like how the Most High's people, us, how we chose the Most High, right? The world has chose their God. They chose the God of this world. And this is why some things are really hard to communicate with people and talk about, because everybody is stoic and staunch in how they feel and their belief in their God. But here's the thing, even wicked people or people who chose the God of this world, Satan, they can't come out and just say that, hey, I chose Satan. They're not going to do that. They're a little bit smarter than that. But what they do is they are staunch representatives of, say, like, for instance, as an example, the letter gang people. They are Satan's people, or whatever it is that the Most High is against, that's what they are for. So you shall know them by their fruits. They're not going to come out and be like, oh, hey, I worship Satan, right? But if they're encouraging you to be lawless, and if they are representatives or proponents of things that are of wickedness, that's how you know them by their fruit, right? So keep that in mind. The line in the sand is drawn. It's drawn just like how the Most High's people, his sons and his daughters, how we are stoic and we're like, oh, this is what it is. They're like that too. The difference between them and us is that the Most High's children, we can be out loud with this because our fault. This is the righteous. This is morally correct. Whereas them, they're out loud, but it's way more subtle. Like we can be, what I'm trying to say is that, like, we can be out loud with our praise to the Most High, but they can't necessarily be out loud with their worship of Satan. So keep that in mind. All praise to the Most High.
Now, the brother's thought-provoking video sheds light on a long-overlooked aspect of American history and biblical prophecy, asserting that Black Americans are the true Hebrew Israelites and their 400-year captivity has significance in end-time prophecy. Now, this claim warrants examination, and upon closer inspection, historical evidence and biblical connections reveal a striking narrative. Historically, the transatlantic slave trade forcibly displaced millions of Africans, echoing the biblical prophecy of captivity. Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 and Leviticus 26 verse 33. The enslaved Africans' experiences mirror the biblical Israelite struggles in Egypt. Exodus 1 verse 13 to 14 and 2 verse 23 to 25. Now, the Bible predicts a 400-year captivity in Genesis 15 verse 13 to 14, aligning with Black Americans' experiences. In Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, warns of enslavement and scattering, reflecting the African diaspora. In contemporary times, systemic racism and oppression continue to affect Black Americans, echoing biblical warnings of persecution. Matthew 24 verse 9 and John 15 verse 18 to 20. Now, the rising awareness of Afrocentric biblical connections and Hebrew Israelite identity resonates with prophecy. Romans 11 verse 25 to 27. Scholars like Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. James E. Landing have extensively researched African history and biblical connections, lending credibility to the brother's claims. Now, while interpretations may vary, the brother's video sparks essential conversations about Black Americans' history, biblical prophecy, and spiritual identity. Evidence from history, scripture, and scholarship supports what he's saying, inviting us to explore and reflect. Now, the brother's Afrocentric biblical interpretation humanizes and contextualizes biblical stories within African history and culture. Now, this lens reveals overlooked perspectives and insights, challenging Eurocentric interpretations. By examining biblical figures like Moses, Solomon, and Jesus through an African lens, we gain a deeper understanding of the cultural and historical context. Now, this approach fosters empathy and understanding, bridging the gap between ancient narratives and contemporary experiences. And recognizing one's true spiritual identity is crucial for growth. As a brother emphasizes, this awakening transcends superficial labels and categories, connecting individuals with their divine purpose. Now, the Hebrew Israelite identity, for instance, embodies a rich spiritual heritage that empowers collective liberation. Scholars like Dr. James E. Landing have explored this identity, shedding light on its significance. Now, his analysis of biblical prophecy in relation to current events is both fascinating and unsettling. Consider the rise of global unrest, social justice movements, and increasing awareness of systemic injustices. Now, these developments align with biblical prophecies such as Matthew 24 verse 9 and John 15:18 verse 20, where the urgent need for collective action and spiritual renewal is palpable. I feel his video serves as a clarion call. Black people must reclaim their heritage and cultural roots, engage with Afrocentric biblical interpretation, and embrace our true spiritual identity. Now, I would love to hear from you, my viewers. What are your thoughts on the connections he's making between Black Americans, biblical prophecy, and spiritual identity? Do you resonate with his assertions, or do you have questions and concerns? Have you also recognized the parallels between African history and biblical narratives? Share your insights, experiences, and perspectives in the comment section below, and let's engage in an amazing conversation. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.